Hey kids, welcome to our next unit on presidential elections and how they work. In our classroom simulation, you guys just declared your independence and fought for your freedom. And won. Well, now it's time for you to elect your first leader. But before you do that, let's find out how it's done in America. We got some great questions for this unit, so listen up. Here they are. What do donkeys and elephants have to do with politics? Maybe because politicians never forget to be stubborn? Being president sounds kind of cool. I wonder why everyone doesn't run to be president. I could never pull off the president thing. It's the whole tie thing. What's up with the college being the final decider of who's going to be president? Shouldn't that at least be a university? Well, there you go. Those are the questions for this unit. Very interesting, if I do say so myself. Today we're going to start with those donkeys and elephants. Who let them out of the zoo? So, grab a chair, borrow a whip. We're going to tame a lion of learning. Oh, it's an angry lion. Donkeys and elephants. What do they have to do with politics? Well, if you don't know already, they are the symbols that represent the two main political parties in our nation today, with the donkeys representing the Democrats and the elephants representing the Republicans. Today, our essential question is, what are political parties and what role do they play in our nation's elections? But before we start talking about donkeys and elephants, let's talk about what a political party is. You could think of political parties as two teams playing against each other for the big prize, control of our country. Our first president didn't belong to a political party. In fact, he thought they were evil. Let's take a listen to what he said about political parties in their own words.
The alternate domination of one faction over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, natural to party dissension, which in different ages and countries has perpetuated the most horrid enormities, is itself a frightful despotism.
What Washington was saying with his 18th century fancy pants words was when you have two groups who win and lose over time, they tend to start to hate each other. And then they start doing things like lying and cheating to win elections instead of what's best for the country. People who care more about their party winning than what's best for the country are called partisans. Even though Washington didn't like political parties, they came about anyway. To find out why, let's take a closer look at what political parties are with is or is not. Today we are looking at things a political party is and things a political party is not. First of all, a political party is a group of people with a common goal. That goal could be to get someone elected, pass a particular law, or raise money for helping people they agree with. A political party is not part of the government. They are independent groups that help people get elected into government positions, but are not funded by or supported by the government. A political party is told what it can and can't do by the government. For example, there are limits on how much money can be donated to a candidate, and what money raised by political parties can be spent on, and much more. A political party is not limited to Democrats and Republicans. There are many, many different political parties in the United States, including libertarians, socialists, communists, Green Party members, and much more. A political party is a way for someone to have a bigger voice. By joining and giving money to a political party you agree with, you can make a bigger difference than you could on your own. If you choose to join a political party, there probably won't be a party out there that you agree with 100%. Political parties have what is called a platform, which is a list of what it believes the government should and should not do on controversies like abortion, immigration, taxes, etc. Since a party's platform will have things that you like and don't like, you probably have to choose a party you agree with the most. Well, there are some great details about what a political party is and is not. Now that we know what a political party is and is not, let's talk about who makes up political parties. At the top of the political party are the leaders. This includes the chairperson and high-level politicians who are currently in power that belong to the party. These people are most influential in deciding what the party's platform is, how money is spent, and what party members will say, known as talking points, when being interviewed by the press. Below the leaders are activists. These are people who have either a job or volunteer to make phone calls, help organize rallies, which are gathering of supporters to gain enthusiasm and attention, pass out flyers, get petitions signed, and much more. These people are often rewarded with their service by being able to vote on certain party decisions or being a representative of the party at an important convention or meeting. The last group of people involved in a political party are voters registered as members of the party. The registered voters of a party get to vote for who runs for their parties in the presidential election. They do this in what are called primary elections, which we'll talk about in our next video. So what do political parties do? Well, first of all, political parties nominate candidates who run for office. Remember, political parties raise a lot of money, which can be used for advertising, speechwriters, campaign trips, and much more. When a political party nominates a candidate, they are deciding who gets the resources for their party. At this time in America, if you want a real chance of becoming president, you would need to be nominated by either the Democrats or the Republicans, since they have the most money, power, and influence. The second thing parties do is influence policy, which means they affect what laws are created, changed, or repealed in the U.S. They affect policy by getting people elected and by doing something called lobbying. Lobbying is when a person goes to leaders in the government and tries to convince them to do something. So by lobbying and getting people elected who agree with them, political parties try to make changes in their country. The third thing that political parties do is inform the public. By creating advertisements, flyers, giving speeches, holding rallies, and making phone calls, political parties try to inform the public with what is going on in the government. This can be helpful, but it can also be hurtful when political parties give only information from one side of the story. This can actually mislead people more than inform them. This is why being informed is so important. By spending time watching the news, reading articles about what's going on in the world, you can be aware when groups try to mislead you instead of inform you. So about those donkeys and elephants. As I said earlier, these two symbols represent the Democratic and Republican parties. These symbols came from political cartoonist Thomas Nast, who wrote for a magazine called Harper's Weekly. He drew the symbols while creating cartoons that were talking about the Democrats and Republican parties after the Civil War. He created the donkey for the Democrats in 1870 and the elephant for the Republicans in 1874. Nast didn't set out to create symbols for the parties, but his drawings became very popular and were quickly adopted by each party. So what? Well, if you can answer the following questions, then you'll learn what you needed to know. What is a political party? What people are involved in political parties, and what do they do? Finally, what are the three main roles of political parties? We also have a bonus question. Why do you think political parties started even though George Washington warned Americans about them? If you get that answered, let me know. You'll get some stripling dough. Tune in next time to find out how primaries and caucuses work.